Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon Wild Pickups.
Hey, it's me, Todd Novak. We are happy to have you with us wherever you are listening. Super, super, super excited to do this show. I always am. We always are. But we also are excited because we've got a very special guest on the line.
Yep.
It's me, Geof Hancock, right? Farm Pedals from beautiful downtown Casco, Maine.
Yes. Farm Pedals, one of the more interesting pedal makers, I guess, out there. Not necessarily just because of the kind of pedals he makes, but I think he's got a really great backstory that we want to share.
It's because of what I don't do.
It's right. What you don't do.
Less is more?
Right, yeah, sure.
So we will get into his story and all of the good things about the cool pedals that he makes in just a while. For all of you who are first-time listeners, we welcome you. We're going to go through a couple of our favorite segments of the show. Then we're going to get to the interview. The first one of which we have to just address a few minor things, which I will do right now. Hey, everybody. Our show today is sponsored by Reverb, one of our favorite places in the whole wide world on the internets. And Reverb.com's got a really cool thing called Artist Shops, and it features interviews, videos, and their own personal gear shops, which I'm sure a bunch of you have seen on social when it comes up where one of your favorite artists is selling off their own gear. And that is... Man, that's such a cool way to get into some awesome gear, but your favorite people, right?
I was checking out the J Mascis one.
Exactly.
That was very cool stuff.
All it takes is a little money.
Yeah, or a lot of money, but that's okay. And yeah, I was checking out Billy Corgan stuff because I'm a huge Pumpkins fan.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's artists like Green Day, J Mascis, Neon Indian, Mike Gordon, the Decemberists, Billy Corgan, like we mentioned, Rick Nielsen, one of the greatest guitarists ever.
Let's get some of that stuff.
Yeah, Social D, Social Distortion for those who ain't hip, and a whole bunch of others. It's really cool. They got stories and videos and all of the gear.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's really cool. So check it out, reverb.com, and look under the Artists tab, and you will find it there. Sweet. Get you some.
Yeah.
All right. I also want to point out that today is a very special day for us because we are in our new recording space. We're recording right now through our new sponsor, Rode Microphones, and they have provided us with some really amazing gear. We're recording through Procaster microphones right now.
Really nice.
And I'm thrilled about this. They've been extremely awesome to work with, and we sought them out personally, specifically because of how their story and our story and aligns, and we just had a good rapport with them, and so here we are. The whole point in pointing that out is that the reason that we tried to get a sponsor is to make it sound better for you guys listening out there, and to make things easier on your ears. We've got we got some things that we're still working out the kinks on because it's a fresh new space with fresh new gear and all that business, and we are in an old building now, and sometimes the electricals aren't always cooperating. But
right.
So I think on an episode or two you've heard some little bit of clicky business. We're trying to sort that out, so bear with us. It's not the microphones. The microphones are great. We love them. Thank you, Rode Microphones, for hooking us up. And with that, I'm going to get us started on what's going on this week, Tony.
Yes.
This week in my world, couple of things. I recently celebrated a birthday, and one of the birthday gifts to myself was I found a copy of Bowie at the Beeb. Double disc, so it's many of his recordings from the BBC.
Whoa,
Nice.
And it's just great stuff. I have a Pandora channel for Bowie that pulls a lot of the songs off of this, and it's live in studio stuff, and it just sounds incredible. I mean, I like many of the takes better than the actual final released mixes.
Right.
You can kind of see where he was going with some of this stuff, especially the stuff from '72. Really killer stuff. So that was one thing I've been just listening to nonstop. And then I did it again. Oops, I did it again.
Oh boy.
What?
So I sold a buddy of mine. I had an old.
Here comes a Rickenbacker.
Yes, here it comes. Here it comes. So I had a probably 70s, 80s Tokai Rickenbacker copy that I sold to a buddy of mine. And it was a cool guitar, and you know, I said, well, you know, he was really looking for something that was reasonably priced and wanted to have, you know, that look and style. So I sold it to him, and lo and behold, I found another body and neck, a true Rickenbacker 340 from 1993, came up on an auction site. And I was looking at it, and I said, well, I don't know. And I kept watching it. It was on my watch list, and the seller finally reduced the price a little bit, and I just jumped on it and bought it.
So
Awesome.
I got a question about that stuff. How different?
He never just asks a question. He's always got to.
I have to announce that I have
question.
to. Well, of course I do.
Yes.
I'm just going to ask.
Ask it.
I'm just going to bulldoze and ask this thing. So, the 1993 models, compare that to today's models. Like, what are some of the different quality are there
Stuff from the
different
90s?
quality
compared-
characteristics?
You know, I really, until you go back to the stuff that was made in really the 60s, 70s, 80s even, there's not a whole lot of difference in stuff from the 90s to what was made today. I forget what year Rickenbacker put CNC machining in, but prior to that, they were made a lot different. Stuff that was made, you know, in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Whereas now everything is almost machined on the same, on the milling machines.
Mega consistency.
Yeah, and Rickenbacker has always been very consistent in terms of how their finishes are, the build quality, everything like that. So this one just has a little more age on it than, you know, something.
Okay, because I was like, 93, like, you know, what's the big hoopla about a 93? Because, you know, it's, gosh, only what, you know, 20, 30 some years ago.
Yeah, that's a long time.
But
In guitar years,
gosh, I guess it is.
that's like 140
Okay.
in guitar years.
Yeah.
It's like worse than dog years. Isn't it?
It's the same.
Okay.
Well, that's cool.
So that's going to be my next project. I handed off some toaster style pickups that I need Jared to rewind into the proper toaster single coil pickups for me. I have provided the proper specifications.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And so it's something a little bit different. He's wound a couple for me before that are really good sounding pickups. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So that's I'll keep you posted how that progresses.
Rad. Jared?
Well, following from last week's what's going on in my world, I've got another Phase 100 that's, you know, original and not broken. And I've got Mike Trombley with Red House Electronics fixing the first one that I broke. So
He admitted he broke it.
well,
he admitted he broke it.
I put in 9-volt 100 MA, and the thing fried within 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So this new one I got, I'm scared to plug anything into it, you know, into the power source. So I just put a 9-volt battery in it. Thing works like a charm.
Yeah,
So
but it has a factory plug in it, right?
Yeah, it's a small.
And the polarity is not different.
It's an 1/8 inch jack, 9-volt.
Yeah, but it's not. The polarity is the same as.
I don't know.
Well,
It's a 9-volt. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. But I just threw a 9-volt battery in it, and I just have to, go through the inconvenience of unplugging the thing when I'm done using it.
Yeah. Or get it fixed.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even get it fixed. I don't. This one's fine.
Well, it's not fine if it doesn't work.
no, this one works.
This one works.
Well, I mean,
he can't plug it into
I'm
his.
scared to plug power into
Right.
it
That's
other
what
than
I mean
a
by
9-volt.
get it fixed. So you said you're going to give it to Trombley to fix it?
Don't be scared, Jared.
No, you're not following me. The
I'm
old
sorry.
one is with Trombley right now.
Okay.
I bought another one So I have 2 of them.
And then he's going to
So you
buy
bought
one
2
more
that don't
tomorrow.
That's right.
How did you buy?
That way it
I
makes
bought
it
2.
it makes it a phase 300 if you plug them all in at the same time.
One is broken, sent to Trombley.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have it done by, the guitar show tomorrow. I doubt if he is.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I have a fresh new one that's nice and fresh.
Brand new?
No, it's used, but it's all stock. I opened the back. I looked at it.
Same
Everything
era?
is
Same era?
Same era.
Okay.
It's like same everything on it. Exactly as the other one.
Matching serial number to the box.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
This one has the matching instructions,
Wow, that's cool.
but not the warranty card. The other one has the warranty card with the serial number.
Here's a tip. You could try to send the warranty card in, but they're probably not going to honor it.
I think you're right.
So you're gonna fix this new one then?
The new one's fine.
He's
Well,
just,
I just
he's
don't-
afraid to plug the power.
I get it.
I don't want to plug the power in the new one like I did the other one.
I
Because
think
it's the
you should
exact
try.
unit. No,
It's
I don't
not
want
the
to.
exact unit, and they all are supposed to work. I think you got to bum one, and if just plug it in, it'll be fine. And the worst thing that happens is the same thing that happened to your old one, and you got to fix it anyway.
I want to make sure Trombley can fix this.
Well,
old one
yeah,
first.
and then check with Mike to see what the polarity, if it's different than standard.
I'm going to defer to the local pedal builder on the line. What would
Yeah.
you do, Jeff?
I'd plug it in. Right? Life's too short.
You guys don't know how bad
Right.
that smell was, man.
Yeah. No, that's good. I want that. No, it's tough. Who knows what, it could have just been old, I mean, it could have just been tired.
That's
That
what Mike
happens.
said, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I'd
it-
plug it in.
It was freezing cold, too, when I plugged
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah.
So it had everything going against it, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty much. And then a whole other things, getting ready for this guitar show and things like that. But
Well, we got a couple of them coming up. You
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, you're going to NAM.
Yeah.
I say NAM. You're saying NAM. Potato, potato, whatever.
it's
No.
NAMM.
Just not Nambla.
Yeah. Jeff, are you going to NAM?
Probably not. I was looking into it, but it may or may not happen.
Yeah.
Hard telling.
I'm
I
just
tend to
going to
like
walk.
pirate things. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
kind of show up
I'm just going to
uninvited
walk around.
with most things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Tony and I are going to try to hit the summer one. So
Oh yeah, we'll be.
yeah,
Oh, I'm going to that.
if you
Right.
plan for that, then you can come and we can hang out.
Stay with you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hobnob with your
Dude,
fellow
absolutely.
wizards.
Exactly.
Dude, we usually
If
can get a
it's
B&B
free.
and try
Yeah.
to do it.
Ideal.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff, what is going on in your guitar world this week?
Nothing happened in my guitar world this week, largely because it was like a farm disaster, and that's kind of like the name of the game with me, right? The whole like farm pedal, my music scene can come to a screeching halt if the farm needs me. We had some big harvests and stuff like that, but we also had a blizzard this past week. And one of the joys of blizzards and greenhouses in the Northeast, we had our biggest greenhouse collapsed.
Oh,
jeez.
Ouch.
Boo-doo, ba-doo.
Yeah.
And so when stuff like that happens, you just have to kind of there are kind of priorities, and so I've been on stress management kind of like farm duty all week, which is good and bad. It's cool because in the wintertime I really try to like focus in on what's happening with the whole pedal scene and that part of my life, but I can get pulled out of it fast, you know what I mean? And so I have to adjust. And so some deadlines that I had set up for myself have all gotten screwy. But ultimately, it's okay, and it's good to be, flexible, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's worth, I guess, spoiler alert. One of the interesting things about Jeff, and one of the reasons that I was instantly intrigued about him, is that he actually runs a real live farm.
Honest to God, I get a day job.
Yeah. So hence farm pedals. So the cat's out of the bag, everybody. That's when.
Right.
Oh, I thought it was PHARM.
No, it's like it's pretty legitimate. We do an excellent job at failing at both effects pedals and farming.
Nice.
What kind of crops?
We're a mixed vegetable operation, so it's like everything from corn, like sweet corn, to carrots and lettuce and tomato, the whole bit. It's a family farm kind of scene. We do 10 acres.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's great. We got a farm stand and we do farmers markets.
Yeah.
Whole restaurants. We have a CSA program, which is pretty great, which is a community supported agriculture. It's like a membership.
Oh, yeah.
Right, where people buy in. So we're already starting to get money now for this summer. People are buying in.
That's killer.
Essentially, it's great. It's cool too because you get to know these folks real well. They really kind of like lock into the farm. And then the thing, like we were harvesting today, like my wife and I were out 10 hours today, picking food in 20-degree weather.
Wow.
Greenhouses and stuff. Yeah, right. We're part of this multi-farm winter cooperative CSA. So there's 6 farms in our area, and we all kind of like work together as a team to grow food for the winter time, and we kind of pool that food and we distribute it to a membership base every couple of weeks through the winter, which is pretty fun because it's like a camaraderie kind of social network in a very agrarian kind of way,
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
right.
really cool.
Yeah, totally. And it beats working.
I don't know. Sounds like a lot of work to me.
Well, everything's a lot of work, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we legitimately farm. That's what we do. And so in the summertime, or about, I would say 8 to 9 months out of the year, I'm locked into the farm. And then that other time, about 3 months out of the year, 3 or 4 months out of the year, I really try to like kind of shut that down. And that's happened kind of in my general old age. I just physically have to have a little bit of, downtime, and my body is not as strong as it was. I'm like tired, and I got these, they're wonderful. But I got this, the kids and the family and everything else. And I need to like spend some time with them in the winter, but also kind of put the farming thing away a little bit so I don't lose my mind.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. And kind of come into this whole scene, which is very different. But
kind of like beating your plowshares into swords.
Absolutely. I beat it into melting tube amplifiers.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Todd,
Hey,
what
you just
about
stole my
you?
line.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Oh my gosh, what did I do? Honestly, I have been playing pedals like bonkers because we've got all these really cool interviews coming in, and I've been doing that. But more importantly for this podcast is that I've been setting up our studio.
Yeah.
So I have, it's I don't want to lead anybody into, crazy dreams. It's not like we have a studio in the sense of what you might think a studio is.
Like a big, nice,
it's a box. It's a room.
Yeah.
And
it's small.
so I've just been working on getting it, taking care of the sound, so we're not getting, too much bouncing around off the walls. So like all the acoustic paneling and acoustic drapes on this giant window, and setting up the table and the mic arms and all this stuff. And
a refrigerator too.
yeah, Tony and Jared got a little mini fridge for some beers. But here, this is
soda.
This is the important thing.
Sodas.
This is the important thing, and I'm going to do a little plug here, is that because of our patrons from Patreon, that's what made this possible.
Thank you.
That is
Great.
100% what made this possible. And we cannot thank you guys enough for all of your support, whatever level it is. It is so appreciated. We love the stories that you're sending us. We love the letters that you send with the pledges, and it means the world to us. We care a lot about this podcast, and to hear that it matters to you guys out there is just it. I can't even tell you how good it feels, and it helps us make everything better.
Yeah.
So we greatly appreciate that. So that's what I've been doing. But I think right about now.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
Okay, Jeff from Farm Pedals. We all want to know, as a pedal maker, what is your 4 on the floor?
Yeah, that's great. That's tough. I mean, talk about a renaissance for like stuff right now. You know, there's so many great pedals out there. I would say my first pedal is probably the Laser Fuzz from Idiot Box. You know that one? It's great. It's a super glitchy.
Ooh,
It's
yeah.
you know,
Idiot Box makes some really cool, neat stuff.
Matt is a genius. I love his stuff. The Laser Fuzz is great because it has a real nice wide range of like frequency to it. It's got all these glitch settings, and he just re-released it, I think, with a external. It had an internal volume. Mine has an internal volume, like kind of trim pot. This one has like a new external. I'll probably end up buying another one. It's great. That's like a desert island fuzz for me, just because of the rain. You know, I love how gnarly it is. It's just unreal. There are unusable settings in it, which I think really cracks the usable. Unusable is like my gold standard, you know.
Yeah. We kind of noticed a little bit.
Yeah,
there's a couple in this
how I
pile.
roll, right? I love that Laser Fuzz. So that would be number one. Land Devices out of Oakland. They did a HP2. I think Reverb just did a feature on it, as a matter of fact. They did HP2. It's based on the harmonic percolator. That's a nice one too. Super warm, super kind of like gated germanium fuzz, you know, sound. That would be number 2 on the list.
Ooh, now wait a minute. Back that up.
Have you seen the HP2?
I have not.
Devices?
I have not.
Andy at the Tone Report did a demo on it. It's pretty cool. I think he ran guitar and bass through it. Yeah, it's cool. You should check it out. It just does a kind of like a real nice, like kind of almost like early Crazy Horse kinds of fuzz sounds. You can get a bunch of different tones out of it. And I think it's a pretty close part for part kind of tip of the hat to those original harmonic percolators.
Right.
Which is kind of neat. They're hard to come by. I've got one of those and I love that. That's it's so unique between the Laser Fuzz and the HP2 by Land Devices. Those are two pretty decent fuzzes that you can get a huge range of tones out of.
So you mentioned the Germanium.
Yeah.
So can you tell the difference between an everyday transistor
and a germanium transistor?
Yeah.
You can't.
Or what?
Especially when it gets super hot because they don't work, you know. They're very like temperature sensitive and stuff. But no, I can. The kind of the like depth of tones. When I first got it started as like an enthusiast building, I was buying all these like germanium transistors, and I really liked it. I really was geeking out about it and everything. I liked the kind of the typical warmth in the sound of the transistor, I think, is there. I think the kind of harmonic depth is maybe there. But that's it. I've moved. Essentially everything I do now is all silicon based because it's just much more reliable, and I'm a real sensitive guy. I hate sending pedals out. People are like, geez, I tried gigging with it. It was too hot and my pedal didn't work, you know. Gotcha. I get all emotional about it. So I try to keep everything as, you know.
Well, I'm glad I got your opinion on that because I don't think I would have had an opportunity to ask otherwise.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Jared.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's how my feeling about that. But I mean, there are people who know a lot more about it than I do, and I think they're, you know, much smarter guys than I do who have really well-founded opinions.
Well, you're making a lot of fuzz pedals, so I'm leaning towards, you know, trusting you on that.
Yeah. Well. Thanks, I guess. All right.
So what's your number 3?
Yeah. Number 3, I've got this great old, it's like a late 70s, early 80s DOD phaser, the 201. They reissued it recently kind of thing. It's very similar to a Phase 45. I love it. It might be my favorite phaser all time because it's so musical. It kind of it doesn't get, it's not super deep. It's not super, there's not a lot of feedback in it. You get nice phasing sound. It almost can be like an always on pedal. You know what I mean? It does. You don't get that. I love phasers, and I love the big phasing, like swooshes that happen and stuff like that. But that's more of like an effect. This DOD 201, I just love. And I think it's a little bit, I've tried some of the old Phase 45s, and I kind of like that 201 a little bit better. They're very similar, but a little different, I guess.
Yep.
I like blue better than orange.
I recently sold an old DOD with the giant jack on it. It was an old delay. It was like one of the early delays.
Yeah.
But it had the big like 1/4-inch jack, like the big mama.
Like you're plugging a computer in.
Exactly. You know, I was like, so.
Right. Some of that stuff. Well, even the new. I mean, I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, playing a lot of like DOD. That was my entry to effects. So I kind of have a soft spot for DOD, really. But that phaser, I think, is really, I don't know if it's underappreciated. I think a lot of people like it, but there's something to be said for subtlety, you know?
Yeah.
That 201 is just unreal.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I love it. You should get one. I think, and I haven't really compared it to the new ones, but I haven't heard anything terrible about the new ones that they put out, and I recommend it. You should get one.
I'll check it out.
Money. Yeah, right. It's short money. It works great. It just adds a little bit of, you can get some movement without it really like messing up your tone or like screwing with other, you know, they're dope.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Number 4 is more intrusive. The Ravish sitar. You ever played one of those? EHX's sitar emulator.
What?
Have you've never tried that?
I know what a sitar sounds like.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's unbelievable. It's great. You get this super nice, it's a pretty decent sitar, like a synthesizer kind of scene. Yeah. And you get all the drone strings and you get all these presets so you can tune it to different keys. And then you can also have different, you can tune it to like minor, major. Without it in front of me, I can't
got a pedal idea for you, dude.
What's that?
A fuzz tar.
A fuzz tar.
Yeah, that would give you, so like it would be like a sitar, but it would be fuzz, so you'd get those droning notes, and oh man,
that would work good. It almost sounds like that. Did you ever see that? What was it? Dan Electro made one of those. What's that one?
Swami.
Swami. Yeah, that's kind of like
that.
It's like a really like screwed up, like fuzzed out flanger. Yeah, it's ideal. That's another good one.
Yeah,
highly recommend everybody pick that one up.
I never have any good ideas. I never have any nothing's original anymore.
No, that's a good idea. It might be the sitar emulator thing. The other thing I love about the Ravish sitar too is that, and I have it a couple because there's like 10 presets. I think I have a couple of the presets set up without any of the kind of drone strings, and you can get some neat kind of late 70s 80s guitar synthesizer sounds out of it, like Pat Metheny style synth,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's great. It's not for me super useful, but it's super fun in that you can get to some really weird places super fast,
Yep.
And that is that I love that pedal.
How about an Octaver fuzz sitar pedal?
Oh my! That sounds like something that Electro Harmonics just came out with.
I think they did. It's on like a treadle, like a whammy pedal. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the synth stuff. Pigtronics just dropped or I guess it was this summer. The Mothership, they redid it, and in the Mothership 2. It was. I mean, that's super neat. A lot of the modern synth stuff they're doing is pretty, computers.
All the Mel stuff. All the Mels.
Beyond my pay grade. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, cool, man. That's a solid list. I like that.
Those are Idiot Box, Land Device, DOD, EHX.
That's fun.
There you go.
goats, right?
Cool. Let's move on.
Okay.
Well, the big reason that we've got Geof on the show today is because, like usual, I'm thumbing through Instagrams and derp, and I'm like, what's this? Tony almost broke the chair.
Derp.
Yeah. And I said, whoa, what's this? And it looked cool because I saw it and it just had a single, I think the first one I saw just had a skull on it. I was like, hey, I mean, who doesn't like skulls, right?
Right.
Totally.
And
We all have them.
It kind of looked like the kind of...
I'd hope so.
Oh, great pontifications from the wise one over there. The thing that was interesting is it didn't have anything else. It was just like skull. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? And come to find out, I was like, whoa, this dude runs he runs a farm. And that was super intriguing to me. I'm from the West Coast, okay? So the idea, now I should say, obviously there's a lot of farming on the West Coast, but not where I was at. I was down in the beach areas down south.
Yeah.
And anytime I pass a farm, even now, like...
Don't they grow housewives there?
They do, seriously. But it's still fascinating to me. Like I'll drive out to Jared's house, or I drive out to, Chase Gullett's house from
he's
Chasing Vintage.
way out in the
and it's like
country.
I pass the farm, like there's a farm. They're growing stuff there. That's
Ohio
so cool.
has,
I know,
it's like 90% farm.
We have
I
the
know.
best soil
Real
in
farm.
our area.
Yeah.
We have the best soil for
Totally.
farming. Yeah, when I was a kid, I loved combines and farm machinery. I was enthralled, man. I love that stuff.
Did you ever
I
put your
love
hand in
watching
one?
that. No, my uncle lost a toe.
Oh boy.
Good.
He lost a toe in a
farming accident.
combine.
Yeah, it was a farming accident. He lost a toe. He made a lot of money farming, though, man. He was successful. I
Yeah.
love farm equipment. It's
Okay. So on the farm podcast,
Sorry.
you can find out
I could talk
more about that.
BR 549.
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
So, anyways,
Yo.
the intrigue was personal there. It wasn't necessarily from a overarching, like, well, everybody must be interested in this. But I thought you must have a pretty interesting story because I know how much, I shouldn't say I know because I've never done it, but I believe I understand from what I hear that it is a life-encompassing, hard work life. And when you take that and then you say, whoa, but he's making these really like cool pedals, that's interesting. What's behind here? So I gave Geof a call, and he was like, totally into it, totally on farming, totally going to give you a call in a couple months.
Not now, Todd.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, dude, I can totally respect that.
Right.
So we've been in touch over the last couple months, and I'm just really thrilled to have him on right now. He sent us this box of pedals, which, we've got 6 in front of us, which was outstanding because that gives us a really good idea of what your brand is made of, and playing around with each of them. And I think it's interesting to get a box full of fuzz pedals too, because some people have the opinion of like a fuzz is a fuzz is a fuzz. Well,
No.
I personally don't believe that. Hey, I'm just saying that's what some people say. But to figure out between all of the fuzz builders in the world, how everybody is trying to get their own little fingerprint on each sort of degree of different kind of fuzz, is really interesting. And there's a couple people out there that, like yourself, that are trying to do that. And so let's hear a little bit from Geof. Geof, how in the world did you get started in pedal building?
It's oh man, you don't want to know.
Yeah, I do. I just
right. Nah, interview over. No. So what happened was my wife and I, we were farming further in west. We're still in Western Maine, but we were further west, and we were living on this off-grid farm. It was like solar powered, farm scene. We moved to this farm 40 years ago, and I had power for like the first time in in a while. And it was the first time I had ever lived with the internet. I graduated college in 2000 and I kind of lived around, but I moved off grid pretty quick after then. And the internet wasn't really around or really happening like to the extent that it is now when I went off grid. So I had like an email address or something like that, but I'd never really totally accessed it. About 4 years ago, we sold that place and we moved to this new farm here where we are in Casco, and we had power and we had the internet, and I just got into it. I was just like sucked in. I spent the whole first winter, like, you know, looking at all, you know, beautiful sunsets on YouTube or whatever. You know what I mean? I didn't sleep for that whole first winter.
No cats playing piano?
Cats playing piano. I watched every cat. I've seen them all. You know, I think about this. I was like 36 or 37 at the time when it happened. And like, I had never spent all night looking at the internet. You know what I mean? And so there was a lot there. I just got into it. And I kind of talked to my wife that first winter. We got like a TV. We got like, you know, we got a bigger computer stuff. And I was like, hey, hun, could I maybe like, you know, get an electric guitar? Because I had like acoustic guitar and band, you know, it was acoustic living though in the old scene. And so I hadn't had an electric guitar really since I was like in high school, early college. I got rid of all that stuff. And so I started acquiring it. And then my first shot was I wanted to turn this Hammond organ chassis into a guitar amp. I have a buddy here in Maine, this great musician who had done it. And I remember talking to him about it and just like blew my mind that you could do this. And so I went on like Craigslist or something and I bought this Hammond organ tube chassis. I went on the internet, which turns out is amazing, and I found all the schematics for it. I watched a million YouTube videos about how to solder, how to, you know, whatever, do all this stuff. And I like went at it and I turned this chassis into a guitar amp and it worked. Like first time. Yeah, it just worked. I couldn't believe it. Right. And because of that, it was, you know, success out of the box can be a terrible thing. You know, I got this, and it's the amp that I like demo stuff on. I play out of most of the time. It's a great, super beautiful sounding, really wide dynamic range. You think about like the, you know, musical range of an organ, you know.
Oh, wow.
It just, yeah, it can handle a lot. And you put a guitar through that, and it's just this beautiful, like warm, mid-rounded.
How many watts is it?
18 watts or something.
Okay, so
yeah, but it's 18 very loud watts.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's the way, and I don't fully understand all. You know, amp guys are, you know, tenfold smarter than I am.
It seems like you know, no matter what the wattage is, if it's built really well, it's going to be loud.
Totally, and there are different classes as far as how
if
they're
it's
built.
a Class A, it's going to be 18 watts. Class A is like 50 watts.
Sure.
Solid state.
Yeah, totes. So it's super loud. You know, I've lost a lot of like hearing over the last 4 years.
Why not?
It's been the best, right? You know,
There for the taking.
right? Total. And so I started doing that, and then once that was kind of a success, you know, I thought about like I kind of had this memory of having pedals, and I was like, geez, I wonder if I could build an amp, I could build a pedal. So I looked into if there were kits. I got some kits just so I could see how it happened. And then it just kind of snowballed. That first winter after we had farmed here, you know, I had this Radio Shack like pen soldering iron, and I had the internet, and I just like did everything on strip board that first winter. And I just kind of like started learning about how to do it, how I started like learning about not only just kind of finding designs on the internet to try to emulate, but also like I really took it pretty seriously trying to figure out, you know, why. And so you know, that first winter I just kind of did everything on strip board, and that was another. It was like not only with the amp, like I tried to make an amp and it like, or not even make an amp. I didn't make an amp. I converted an amp, right? But still, and
it's
it
still
worked.
really cool.
Yeah, totally.
And you
then
didn't electrocute yourself.
I didn't electrocute myself.
That stuff's dangerous, man.
Totally. Well, I watched a lot of YouTube, right? Sure. There are a lot of, I figured out, you don't put your finger there. You get one shot. But also with those like pedal kits or like I feel like that it was that fall. It was 15, like the summer of 15 or the fall of 15. I had these 4 pedals I had built, and I found Reverb somehow, and I listed them on Reverb, and like in the course of listing those 4 pedals, the first pedal sold.
No better feeling, man.
Wow.
Great.
Honey, I could do this, and that was the first one's always free. It was probably someone at Reverb, like who just bought it to get me to keep selling there. And then they've been cool. The good folks at Reverb, those are good people. They've been super good to me. And it just kind of took off from there,
Awesome.
Yeah.
They really, honestly, seriously are great people.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I did an interview with them last year, and they include me every now and again with like, here's a real podunk builder you could feel good about buying stuff from, or, stuff like that. And, there's 2 or 3 people I talked to at Reverb who are just, dynamite, so. And then it just took off, and everything has been getting more and more kind of like, complicated ever since.
So you mentioned you made, I guess, 4. Were they 4 different pedals, or?
Yeah, totally. 4. I got like 4 kits, and I sold on Reverb. I had no pretense that they were like my pedals. I like gave all credit to due and everything, but like 4 different kits, and yeah, the first pedal I sold was a General Guitar Gadgets kit for their Wesley, they call it. It's a modulator. It was based on this. It was this kind of like arcane, weird, like Leslie speaker simulator from a Popular Electronics magazine from the 70s.
Right.
Anything like it. It's like very like, and I remember at the time kind of describing it as like Elvis on like kind of psychedelics or something. You know what I mean? That like, it was like psychedelic tremolo almost. Yeah. And it sold. Yeah. I couldn't believe it,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. And here I am.
Okay, man. Well, so that's a little bit of your backstory, how you got into it, which is actually really interesting. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah.
You have a very interesting bend on your pedals. I will say that while some people make French foils and stilettos, you're making mallets and 2x4s.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Right? I was just saying, he was killed with a blunt object.
You want to be memorable,
Yeah,
right. I want the musicians to be memorable.
Yeah, I get it. So, tell us a little bit about when you started to say, "Okay, cool, this is something I want to pursue." I think that people tend to say, I'm really going to do modulation pedals, or I'm going to specify in, X, Y, and Z. But I mean,
nope.
Tell us about your specialization.
It's funny. I want to do modulation pedals. That's all. I love envelope filters. I love tremolo stuff. I love phasers and whatnot. But I kind of, it's a little bit of, I got this Etch-a-Sketch kind of attention span for, if I turn my head too fast one way, it's all gone,
Yeah.
And so I just kind of, and that's a challenge for me. Like, I want to do it all, but I'm a one-man show, and I have a limited time period to be able to do it in the wintertime. And so I kind of just follow my nose a little bit. When I started getting building and when I started designing my own boards, that was key. I really started, diving in. I sell a lot of fuzz pedals. That's big for me. And that's, you go back and forth. I love the heavy fuzz stuff. And those are kind of my best sellers, the kind of like real, blunt object, the bulldozer style fuzz, and so I'll do those and I'll try to do some other stuff. It's, it's almost like a little bit of a, I throw up a bunch of fuzz and then I try to like build some phasers or something, but the fuzz all goes and then I have to build some more fuzz again.
Right.
A lot of it too is, everything I build, I'm trying to just solve a problem for myself. I'm trying to understand it. When I'm trying to do like a more of a transparent overdrive, it's like I didn't really understand it, and so I tried to understand it. And in the process of doing that, I come up with a couple of pedals, like the Peach Drive and the Casco Logger. Those are two of mine that are more in like the transparentish overdrive world. Yeah, so I just try to what I try to do here is just explore stuff a little bit, I guess. But I end up spreading myself real thin. And there's good sides to that and bad sides to that. One of the fun things for me is I have a kind of a wide range of pedals, whether they're like fuzzes or boosts, overdrives, tremolos. I got a couple of tremolos, a couple of phasers, things like that. But I'm not really known for anything. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like it's good to really kind of put your eggs in a basket so you can produce enough of them so people can really wrap their head around it, and then you kind of build from there. But I haven't been doing that, and I'm all right with it, I guess. It's fun. The whole key for this is I'm just trying to have some fun, and that's what my whole scene about with this. I got a straight job. The farming thing is it takes all my time throughout the summer, fall, and spring. It's, every day it's real heavy duty. There's a lot on the line. With the pedals, I'm trying to kind of exercise this other part of myself. And it needs to be successful. And when I do make money with it, which, I'm fortunate, I've kind of picked up steam. It's kind of working out. It really helps the farm and helps us as a whole, but I'm trying not to take it too seriously. I don't want this to turn into some weird. I don't want to be like locked in a basement, like mass producing one or two kinds of pedals.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at.
Right. I get you on that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you build a lot of fuzz. That is not one of those things that we're talking about the difference between the different types of fuzz. Give me an idea of like how you're approaching the different fuzz pedals that you do make.
Well, everything comes from somewhere, right? You know, I owe a lot, I think, to the Color Sound one knob fuzz. I think that's a great fuzz, and that was something I learned on early as far as like how to build, trying to understand it. And I think a lot of my understanding from that of fuzz has kind of come from there. I've tried to. There's two different things happening. Like, I'll try to build pedals that work. Like I build tone benders, or I'll build big muffs, or, build one knob fuzzes, to build them, and I'll sell them and whatnot. Or that was more in the early days, but it was more to understand it, kind of.
Sure.
And now, one of the things I will say that it's fun, and it's a release for me in the farm season. That's when I do most of my designs. I have a little studio set up in the house, and I have my like computer program there where I can design my PCBs and stuff like that. And in the farm season, when I get a minute, or if I need to like decompress a little bit, I can kind of like think over these ideas, work on schematics a little bit,
right,
in the middle of the night kind of thing when I can't sleep or something. And so I can take that time throughout the summer to let stuff kind of develop slowly. I can kind of test things sort of slowly, and then come the winter, I'm like in it, and I try to like produce stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's kind of a neat rhythm for me. Almost all my design happens during the farm season.
Right.
And
I can imagine if you're out there just kind of, there's something to be said about the Zen. I think this is actually a book. I could be sure, but it's called like, I think it's called like the Zen. The Zen of lawn mowing or something along that lines of like, I believe, or maybe it was an article, something like that. But they were just saying there are things in your life that you can really use to your advantage for your mental state, for your thinking state and everything, and like things like lawn mowing or even vacuuming or folding clothes or doing something that has that requires you to do some sort of motor thing or just attend to something, but letting your mind be able to use that sort of repetition to go into deeper thought.
Absolutely. And that happens a lot. Like in the summertime, I spend, when I first got started farming, I thought it was going to be super fun. I'd have these tractors and I could, be doing all this tractor work and growing this food for all these people. But, after a handful of years of like spending days on tractors, it becomes less fun fast, know. And so we have to cultivate. It's like weeding with a tractor. Like I'll do that and I'll do it for a half a day or a day. And it's funny, you get your tunes going or something, but when you're driving back and forth at 2 miles an hour up and down this field, you know what I mean? It's pretty mind numbing, pretty fast. And that's where you totally. So what you're saying is very true to my experience.
That's cool.
It definitely. I spend a lot of time thinking about all kinds of things, but the whole like kind of like pedal design, electronic design ideas kind of come in that free space.
Right. Well, let's talk about just maybe a pedal or two that you. Let's talk about maybe like 3 pedals that kind of are the best examples of your work. I mean, you actually have quite a few pedals. You're up to like 10 or 12, right?
Right. Yeah. In that range between 10 and 15, depending. And like some of them, I have some that I've done that I probably won't do again.
Yeah.
It's it's a lot of small batch. I make between like, I would say, 10 and 50 pedals per
run.
These days per run.
Yeah.
In the early days, it was like one and done. And done. But that just can't. I have to be a little more. I have to try a little harder.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, one thing that's interesting about your pedals, I think they're easy to spot because they almost have like the archived illustration sort of rubber stamp. Kind of look on it. Which is always really cool. So they're like old timey illustrations. You're like, okay, this is interesting. There's a flower jar on it, or Tony was mentioning earlier the feather, or there's a lunar pattern thing on it, or skulls and stuff. So that's cool.
It's unmistakable.
It is.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. That comes out of, I think, largely because I'm cheap. I think, and the idea is to my wife and I have talked a lot about it, and like, should I start like working harder on the designs and having things printed out?
It's too late.
Yeah, I know, totally. And honestly, it would like take away from, what this is, we do all parts of it, right? You know, and that's part of it. The whole I'll spend, 2 days painting enclosures for the pedal season, or going through and stamping. It's super tedious. Like all the all the individual letters and stuff, but it's kind of a nice process. I look forward to it.
It's interesting. Your life is revolved around tedium.
Yeah. You have no idea.
I like how it says farm on the end of the pedal on the side.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
Yeah.
It's a very, it's a very
all the cool things.
I know, right? It's just a small detail that people don't think about. But look on the side, it says farm and it's stamped.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It is pretty nice.
Yeah,
well,
I like that.
And thanks. I think some of the thing, and it's more for me than I get a lot of pleasure, like, it takes me a long time to do that, and I'll be like, tickled, like I'm sitting there grinning, stamping for hours on end. Like it's kind of a nice. It's important to do weird things that you don't get any payoff from in this world.
I understand that.
You know what I mean? Like that's like a satisfying, like personal touch thing that I don't think really matters, but I love doing it, so.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it.
I think anybody that is making almost anything has something
that they do, right?
That is the same thing. Like, oh man, that was a really sweet edit I got right there. Like nobody's gonna know it, but I know it's there, and that makes me feel better about the actual end product, which I think is what you're getting at.
Well, you know what I like? I mean, in addition to the way many of them sound, is the artwork on them is almost anti-technology. I mean, it is kind of throwback stuff.
Simplicity.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that, hand paint the boxes and things like that. This is just like, I'm going to just stamp it.
Yeah.
I like
it. Totally. It's hard work to make something look that crappy.
No, man, it don't look crappy to me.
Right.
No.
But it's cool. I love some of the like hand painted stuff you see out there. Like Fuzz Roches does, and like
Champion
all
Lecky.
kinds of other people. Super neat.
Yeah.
Super beautiful. Again, not my skill set.
That's cool.
I mean, when I put a pedal down, I'm not thinking about what the pedal looks like on the outside. I'm thinking about what that thing's going to sound like.
Yeah,
and as long as there's some sort of, picture on there that I know what it is, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I that's why I think I have an appreciation for what you got going on.
Great.
An unappreciation?
Yeah.
No, I appreciate what he's got going
I
on
was
here.
just trying to clarify because it sounded like that, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Sorry.
And with the
you're
skull, it could be you.
Yes, because we
Someday it will.
we all have one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about a couple of your pedals, like
totally.
the sounds right now. So let's. Why don't you give me your top? You just came out with a new fuzz, or you're working on a new fuzz.
Yeah. Well.
The main 2.
Oh, the 20th Maine. Yeah, I ran a couple of those last winter, but I've totally overhauled it. 20th Maine, that was the Civil War kind of regiment, little round top, led by Joshua Chamberlain, immortalized in that 1991 2-part VHS movie Gettysburg.
Oh yeah.
Highly recommended. But I would say it's although I've taken it kind of far afield, I would say it's more in like the muff, like, world of fuzzes. I think, I've really been enjoying it.
Better than that personally. But.
Yeah.
Great,
Come
thanks.
on. Don't sell yourself short.
It's again, the idea is, and I think I do this more often than not, is, you want to let in as much low end as possible. I think I do that with a lot of the fuzzes, as I like that kind of heavy sound, that not really like sludgy necessarily, but like a little bit of body to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things. And so that one, that, the 20th Maine will be, I sold a few last winter just to try them out, but I kind of overhauled it over the summer. And I don't know you guys played with it.
I love that one. That one, it's I'm assuming it's part of the design, but it's almost like a wah pedal that's in the sweet spot, that's on all the time, combined with a fuzz. Is that?
It's got a lot more that kind of like, it's kind of has a band pass kind of filter on it, so you get some of that. I guess you could get some of those kind of like throaty tones a little bit out of it.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's almost like, I was trying it out and couldn't help but play Boston licks or Mick Ronson licks. I mean, because it
has a lot. It does have a lot of versatility in the tone, which I really appreciate, because a lot of them are sort of like, you do have to find a sweet spot on a lot of fuzz pedals where it's like, if you're not on it, it's gonna either sound money or it's gonna sound okay.
You're right.
And this has a lot of money sounds on it. All right, cool. The that 20th main, we like that one. And if anybody's looking for that, it has a rubber stamp of a main on it, does it not?
It does.
That does look like
well,
Maine.
that's easily identified. Another one that we really dug.
How about the scariest of all pedals?
I didn't
the feather.
See that. That's one that actually. That's the first pedal that I saw online.
The sweet leaf,
Yeah.
the one with the leaf on it. The
Oh, it's a
feather.
leaf, not a feather.
Sweet leaf.
Sweet
Yeah.
leaf.
Ah.
Right.
Oh, so much.
Yeah,
for
that one, I don't know how that happened. So my whole, I really love the idea of a one knob fuzz,
Yeah.
To me it's like the purest form.
This is
of fuzz.
this is a no knob fuzz.
Exactly. So, right, what's darker than black, right? What's blacker than black?
None more
right?
black.
It's none more black. But so that was, and so with the skull one, the evolution fuzz, that's kind of like I'm like trying to get that.
You have two
dialed in
skulls. You have two skulls. So
Yeah, I got a lot of skulls actually.
There's a blue skull and a purple skull.
Oh, the purple skull. That's okay. That's the screams. That's different.
yeah.
So the blue skull, the evolution fuzz, that's like, trying to get that. It's like a cucumber roll for like a sushi chef or something, right? You do the simplest thing, right? You try to perfect the simple thing,
Oh, you mean carving the cucumber in one slice?
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Anyway, but yeah, so the evolution or the sweet leaf came out of the evolution and I changed it up a little bit more. It's kind of, I think, a little harmonically, a little more deadly. And I wanted to have this pedal that was just like an apocalypse pedal.
Yeah.
You have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. How fun is that? And so I started producing them last year, and they sold people loved them. I sold a ton of them and whatnot, but the volume was hardwired on them, and there was like no option.
Right.
This season, I've actually changed it. There's actually a trim pod inside, so it's not really a no knob because the knob's just hidden inside. If you really have to, you can dial it back. I set it to the old hard wired values, but you can dial it back if you need to now, because I understand not everybody needs it to be,
one that I really dug. I mean, we got each one of these pedals. I'm like, there's things that I really like about every single one of these that we have in front of us. Let's talk about the blue skull really quick. Which one is that called again?
The evolution fuzz.
The evolution fuzz. So I would venture to say that is a cross between a heavy boost and a fuzz.
It boosts,
because that's what I mean. It was like, whoa, that's a ton of volume in there, and there's fuzz.
Yeah,
which I thought was really cool because, man, that was like a freaking sonic blaster.
Yeah, especially if you if you don't know what you're getting into, you fire it up at 5 or 6 or something, half.
Oh yeah, and especially when Todd sent it over to me, it was at 9.
Yeah, here, try this out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
there's some volume with that one for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt.
That one was cool. That one is I like it loud, and I like it with a lot of,
Yeah,
not necessarily. Okay, so there's and then there's and I don't like that. I'm not into that per se. But I like the big clenched fist. That's cool.
Why not?
That would be another great pedal name, the clenched fist.
Big clenched fist.
Yeah. But then, so if you take that and you say, all right, that's a powerhouse, and it's just a big clenched fist, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That one sounds like super rock and roll to me. I love that pedal. It's great. And then you got the purple skull, which is the scream.
The screams. Yeah, that was kind of, I had this just this idea. I really wanted this kind of mayhem-y octave up.
Oh, that's the farty one, right?
Kind of seeing that
Super gatey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can definitely, when you engage the scream, it's just without the the scream switch engaged, it's just like a regular kind of octave up, ring mod style octave up. engage that scream switch, it kind of starts
the mayhem.
Intense, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
with the dial down low, I think it kind of, you get like a more like boosted octave, but when you really start cranking the dial, things can get bad.
Yeah, I could see that. So like when I was playing that, I was like, oh, this is a cool punch-in pedal.
Yeah, totally.
You know, not necessarily. I was looking at it. I'm like, I'm trying to think of what I would play that would be like always on, but I could definitely punch into that, and it would be like, whoa, hey.
Yeah, I don't think it's an always on.
Yeah. And then let's see, you got our purple.
I like the vibe pedal.
Yeah, the vibe pedal.
Mercurius.
That was really nice, man. Really nice.
Yeah, so that one comes out of like I love phasers. That's like by accident I
so
kind
does
of
Jared apparently.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
At least
And
100s.
Because I like McRalph.
Yeah, phase 100s. Yeah, blow it up, right? I have this other phaser that Sean at the Noise Reel just demoed. That's like a much more like kind of intense kind of phase scene. I wanted something that was more similar to like the 201, the DoD 201 I was telling you about.
Yep.
That was kind of, it was a phaser and it was there and it was an effect, but it wasn't an effect in the way, kind of, I was going for something that hopefully could be a little more subtle if you wanted it to be. Although I think with some of like the different depth switches and the how much it can be more intense, but I was going for something that could be more subtle if you needed it to be.
Vibey too.
Yeah,
I thought immediately.
I didn't take that
Univibe.
as much as a phaser as much as I did a vibe, actually.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, cool, great. That was kind of the idea.
Better than a phaser.
Yeah.
You've got tremolo too, right?
Yeah, you guys sent us.
Like,
you sent us a trend too.
Which I really love, the kind of that old kind of like
that's a flower pot, right? Flower jar.
Yeah, that's flower jar. That's kind of a clean. I have another tremolo that I did that's a little more overdrive kind of tremolo sound. The flower jar is nice. It's, I wanted something that was a little cleaner, kind of. I like that old tube amp style. Tremolo kind of.
It
it's just
didn't have all of the here's 16 different waveforms, and it was just a really good sounding trem, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's the idea. It's funny, when I first got started, I did the kits and then I started doing the designs, and I used to do that. I used to put a million knobs and switches. I was really into these like lab pedals, but as the further I get into it, the more I'm kind of ending up doing these pedals that like have no knobs or like 2-foot switches and one knob. I got like 3 or 4 pedals that have 2-foot switches and one knob. I seem to be taking away the options. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I think it fits your thing.
Yeah, it's like our place. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, there are a million other pedals.
Yeah, or you can buy a Chase Bliss, and you're
totally,
which is cool too. But this is just a very different thing. So moving forward, okay, we've talked about everything you've done, and everybody that's listening, like, guys, he's got a whole bunch of pedals, not just the ones that we're talking about. If you go to the Reverb store, you're like, whoa, what are all these? And ones that we haven't even talked about. I think there's a one with the what was the one with the goat on it? That was cool.
Oh man! The bone broth. That was dope. I was kind of going for that kind of like with that one. That the ones that are up there now are probably the last that are going to happen. I was going for that kind of Zappa style, like real Cocteau fuzz kind of mid sound of that one. That's a good one.
Well, you brought up a good point, which is those are some of the last ones, and you do small batches, so everybody get on your horse and go check them out and get them while they last. And once those are gone, what are you working on for the future? Like, what do you think? Not necessarily what do you have in the pipeline. I don't want you to. I'm not trying to get you to commit to anything, but like, where are you taking this? So, like, what things are you going to be all hopped up on?
I don't know that, and that's like the best part about it. It's like all the time. I'm starting to kind of play with delays a little bit and trying to understand that technology a little bit. So that's kind of like fun. There's always kind of the holy grail fuzz. I'm trying to get there. I really like doing kind of heritage pedals. I have a pedal that I kind of worked up that has a Stratoblaster type boost into some dual cascading compressors, a la Lowell George style rig setup. I like doing kind of that kind of thing, so I may end up doing some more of those, kind of going after particular guitarist tones.
Right.
I have another one that's like a late 70s Jerry distortion sound of a Stratoblaster into a Distortion Plus, and those kind of heritage kind of tones that I like building, those aren't always my own ideas. They're kind of like, classic designs kind of put together, for people. And those are fun to do. I really like that kind of stuff. That's from a fan point of view,
Right.
It's fun to try to like engineer that a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just keep our eyes open.
Lord knows, there's always something.
Yeah. And okay. Well, we will be looking for all the good things to come. And again, get these pedals while they're out there, guys. There's not a big old factory making all these things. So we are going to say a humongous thank you to Geof for sharing all about farm pedals and from whence they came.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was super fun. I really appreciate you having me on.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we're not done yet, man.
Oh, dude.
Why are you trying to close the show down, Jared?
Hey.
Cats are coming on, man. It's
No
like
way, man. I got to sing my little song coming in.
Pats.
Yeah, so we're gonna have you out before the Patriots game, I promise.
No.
Jared.
Yes. Well, it's time for Would You Rather.
All right.
This week's Would You Rather, guys, it's very simple.
Simple.
Would you rather have the nice rectangular guitar case, or would you rather have the contour case?
Why did you say nice for the rectangle?
I noticed that. That's
You're
kind of like
qualifying it
he's
already.
Qualifying. How about if I have could they both be nice?
They're both very nice.
So you got a rectangle, like a SKB kind of molded plastic case.
Oh no, I would like a Tolex one.
What about alligator?
You gotta. Okay, how about this? Would you rather claim your shape, and then you can customize it however you want?
Right. All right. I think that's a great idea.
All right. So let's go, Tony.
Rectangular, with Tolex and leather ends, and something in a nice crushed velvet interior.
What color?
Red.
Red. All right. So a black Tolex, leather ends, white piping.
Yeah, I'll
Black
take the
piping?
white piping. White piping.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a crushed red velvet.
Yeah. Lockable.
Lockable.
Because that's the most useless lock ever invented.
Completely. Yes. I understand.
Every key fits.
What advantage are you?
Well, I like the rectangular case because one, normally they have an accessory pocket or a place to put strings.
Rather large accessory pocket.
A rather large accessory pocket. Yes, yes, lovely. But yeah, that would be my choice. I mean, the contour cases are nice from a space.
Right.
Yeah.
They take up a lot less space.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at the guitar show this weekend, I'll be bringing some rectangular cases and some contour cases.
Yeah.
And the rectangular ones always take up more space.
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
But they stand up better
Match.
by themselves.
Jared.
Rectangular case all the way. And mostly, and I'm not going to go into detail what the outside's going to look like.
Why not?
Because I care more about the inside. I care more about the accessory pocket.
Well, for this purpose, would you care just a little bit?
All right,
about
they
that?
got it. I want a 70s, like a late 60s.
Mr. Specific
early
doesn't
70s.
have any specifics.
They have, it's a Gibson case, so it's going to have the leather ends.
All right.
I don't think they had white piping. Somebody may, I don't know. I think they just bought whatever they had available.
Who's they? Who's all these
Gibson
they
did,
people?
and they
Okay.
put the stamp on it. My dad said his Les Paul came with a rectangular case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they did for a while.
He said he liked it because you could put music or lyric sheets are just big pieces of paper in the thing.
Or some fine farm pedals.
That's right. Yeah. Pedals, effects pedals, chords, anything you need.
Contraband.
Right. Anything you need, you put your stuff in there.
Yeah.
Anything you need, man. Whatever. That's why I'm going to go with the rectangular case.
What do you want the interior to be like?
Oh, I want the purple. The purple velvet. Yeah.
Purple velvet.
A bag of 16 bean soup.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that too.
Yeah. Jeff.
Rectangular all the way. Mostly just because nobody knows what you're packing at that point. You know? It's like it's a mystery for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Put a freaking mandolin in there.
Yeah, totally. Right. Whatever. I always like the tweed. You know.
Okay.
That was. I always
there
like
we go.
Yeah.
Now,
right?
do you like your tweed natural or shellacked?
Natural. I like so it gets nice and frayed. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
There you
Street
go.
cred. You can sit at home and just fray it yourself.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You know, you're working hard
all winter.
You are. Right, exactly.
I'm not afraid of that.
Todd?
I just slipped that right in.
There you go.
I saw like a pink, it was like a crushed velvet, like pink inside of a guitar case once. It was
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The original lifting cases from the late 50s have the pink inside.
I have that on my Explorer.
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, the Victoria's Secret case.
There you go.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit more utilitarian. I'm going rectangle too. The shape cases just drive me nuts because I have storage area. I just need uniformity. I like uniformity with certain things for organization. 100%, I want that. But I do like the plastic molded cases like the SKB and stuff because they're so freaking durable.
Yeah.
They're not going to stain. They're not going to get wet. They're not going to fray apart. They're not going to bend. They're not going to break. It's like those things are indestructible. Yeah. And since I'm using them in a lot of gigs and stuff, I need to, I need them to last, not look cool,
Right.
So, but that said, it would be awesome if they would drop some pink crushed velvet into those because I agree that just is the best.
Now, if you call SKB or some company, I'm sure, if you say you want 20 of them, they'll make them how you want.
Oh, yeah. I mean, was that a G&G case?
Yeah.
Oh, man, those cases are amazing.
Yeah, and they've got tons of options.
Yeah,
and they make cases for a lot of places.
Yeah. A lot of places. But anyways, cool. That was a fun one. Good job, Jared.
Hey, I'll take that credit.
We have a couple things that we want to discuss really quick on our way out that are very important. Tony?
Yes. We would like to thank our executive producers for their support of our podcast.
Yeah. Let them have it, man.
Also known as the Guitar Knobs.
Yes.
So we would like to thank, I'm going to read them in descending order.
Sure, man.
I'll read them whatever order I want.
That's right.
This is
read
my
'em.
part of the show. So let's thank Tom Brazen.
Yes.
How about Martin Cliff? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How about David Wolfson?
My guy.
Matt Brammer?
Sure.
You probably all remember Carlos, Man of La Mancha.
Yes.
Pete Marshall.
Yep.
Derek Fitzer.
Yep.
Robin Smith.
Yep.
John Daly, not the golfer.
Nope.
Oliver Gonzalez.
Yep.
Sean S.
Yep.
My guy.
Yes. Mason Green and new and improved
Who is
this
it?
week. His name is Chris Kearney.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Chris.
Nice.
Chris sent
Welcome.
a really awesome
Welcome,
note.
Chris.
Thank you so much, Chris. It meant a lot to us.
So, if you, and I'm talking to each and every one of you out there, would like to become an executive producer and have your, as Jared would say,
You get to put your name on the thing.
you get your name read on the thing.
That's right. You get your name right on the thing.
Head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and find out how.
Yeah. And if you don't want to be an executive producer and just want to give us a little help out and a virtual high five, you can do that too. There's a couple different ways into it. So we greatly appreciate it. And we'd also like to thank our sponsor, Reverb.com, and remind you that Reverb.com is a marketplace just for musicians all over the world. You can buy, sell, make offers, and negotiate with complete protection. Whether you're selling from home or if music gear is your day job, there are millions of listings online already, and it's free to list yours too. Join the musicians marketplace at Reverb.com.
Parking is free.
Parking is free, exactly. Hey, humongous thanks. Round of not in microphone applause to
Thanks,
Geof
Geof.
Hancock at
Well
Farm Pedals.
coordinated.
You're the man.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, it was a great interview. We really appreciate it. I know our listeners will too. So we're gonna let you go to get to your pats in just a
God, it's
second
gonna be
here.
so bad. They're gonna kill the Titans.
Before you go, we want to know where you can where people can find you.
Reverb, man. You know, that's you can always go to farmpedals.com, but I move a lot of stuff through Reverb, and you know, I can't thank them enough for it.
Mm-hmm. I would say Instagram too, because that's
Instagram. You can find us on Instagram.
Instagram.
Very, very active Instagram, where you even get to see some farm stuff sometimes too.
Yep.
Although nobody really wants to see that. They only want to
I
see
will.
the pedals.
They will now.
All right,
I like
yeah, all right,
combines.
all right.
Yeah.
You know, right.
Tony,
Yes.
where can people find you and your fantastic craftsmanship?
They can go to pickguardian.com, also on various social media networks, including Instagram,
Excellent.
at pickguardian and the number 1.
If you have a regular old guitar, make it unregular and check out Tony's handiwork.
Irregular.
Yeah. Jared?
Okay, guys, if you guys want some really great pickups, BrandonWoundPickups.com or Facebook, Brandon Wound Pickups. Look for me, get a hold of me, email, give me a call, 419-559-9056.
Wait, you're giving him your phone number?
Yeah, that's a business number.
Okay.
Call it, man. Call me and tell me what you want out of your guitar. I'll help you out.
Yeah, he will. Good pickups. I'm putting them in. I got them in most of my guitars. All righty, everybody. Let's go have a good guitar week. Subscribe!
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. Rutherford B. Hayes, one of my president, right?
Yes.
One of my favorites. I feel like he's a really quotable. You can almost say anything and attribute it to Rutherford B. Hayes.
I think
nobody will.
I've lived by his grave for, I don't know, 30 years, and you probably know more about him than I do.
That's kind of creepy.
You
It's
know?
just very fun to watch Todd sweat over here.
Hey, Geoff, do you have a combine?
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.